Right. So on this number 37, it's a challenge problem. They give you the equation of a line, y equals 4x plus 2, and they ask you to draw 3 other lines that will form a rectangle based on that line. Okay? So that's a challenge problem. I think it'll be kind of interesting. All of you can try it now. I'll give you some hints. First of all, we graph this. The slope is 4 and the y-intercept is 2. So there's our first point. This is b equals 2, m equals 4. And this means rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, run 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And there we go. That's our first line. Again, we have the slope is 4, all right? And the y-intercept is 2. Here's our point 2, y-intercept at 2, 0, 2, right? And then we rise up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and run 2, okay? And then we draw a line. That's the beginning. Now it asks you to draw 3 other lines, okay? Other lines to form a rectangle. Now, I'm not going to do them all now, but I'm just asking you, like, logically, when you're thinking about it, what kind of lines will those have to be? Connor's all over it today.
They have to be.
I want other people to think about it, but I know, just hold on to that thought. Connor will go back to you. Lupe, do you know, or Bernadette? What other types of lines would you need to get a rectangle? What does a rectangle look like? A rectangle. Let's see. If I had a rectangle like this, right? I have to draw this. Right? One of them has to be parallel. Yeah, go ahead. What? Well, this is, this line here, you got to have a parallel line here, and you have to have, what kind of lines are these? Perpendicular, exactly. So how would you find those, though? That's the challenge that you're going to face. That's the challenge problem. You have to find a line that's, the parallel line shouldn't be that hard, right? It shouldn't be too bad. But you have to find 2 perpendicular lines. That shouldn't be too bad either. You just have to know that they are going to have slopes that multiply to be -1. What's the slope of this?
4.
4, okay. What's the slope of the perpendicular lines? So this will be, if this is 4, -1/4. Okay? So already you know that the slope of this is -1/4, and the slope of this is going to be 4, so then you just have to write different y-intercepts and you're good. Okay? But they have to work so that it's a rectangle. You don't want, you're going to have to make it work on a graph. All right, so that's a challenge problem. Number 37, it's awesome. I'm going to give double alarm credits for anybody who does that one. Number 37, that's really cool. I'd love it if you do that. Okay. All right, there's some problems here that one of my students put up that they want to have answered, so I'm just going to work for a few of them. 7-2, there are some exercises here. They asked to find 3 solutions of each. So they've given 5x plus 7y equals 19. Well, what's a solution to that equation? On these kind of questions, when they're looking for solutions, the easiest thing to do is just create a t-chart, x and y. So what do you put in for x? Well, just put in 0 and then solve for y. This will be 19/7. Well, how did I get 19/7? When this is 0, okay, that disappears. We're left with 7y equals 19. We divide by 7 on both sides, and we're left with 19/7. If we put in another number, let's put in -2 in for x. So this is random. I can choose anything for x. We put in -2, we get, okay, 5 times -2, which is -10, plus 7y equals 19. We add 10 on both sides, we get 29, and then we're going to get 29/7. Okay? So these are all solutions. If I put in +2, that would become positive 10, right? And when I subtract 10 from 9, I'm going to end up with 9, and it's going to be 9/7. So this t-chart is the key to finding 3 solutions of any type of equation. Okay? So there's another one right there, page 326, finding solutions to this. Same deal. You go ahead and make a t-chart. All right, x and y. Put in 0, we get y equals 4. Put in 1, we get y equals 7. Put in -1, we get y equals 1. Did them in my head. You could probably do them in your head too, or you might want to use an equation. So, as I said, we put in 0 for x, we get y equals 3 times 0 plus 4. Then you go the long way, y equals 4, because this 3 times 0 cancels out. We did y equals, 3 times 1 plus 4, and it equals 3 plus 4, which is equal to 7. So that's how we got 7. And when we put in negative 1, we get y equals 3 times negative 1 plus 4. We ended up with negative 3 plus 4, which is equal to 1. And that's how we got negative 1, 1. So we're done. Find the slope of lines containing these points. You're given 1/4, 1/8, x1, y1. First of all, that's x1, y1. That's our first point, x1, y1. And our second point, x2, y2. How do we find the slope? We have a formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? All right, so our y2 is equal to 3/4. Our y1 is equal to 1/8. Now we're over x2 minus x1. Our x2 is 1/2 minus x1, which is 1/4. All right, so what's 3/4 minus 1/8? It's the same as 6/8 minus 1/8. It's 5/8. All right, 1/2 minus 1/4 is the same as 2/4 minus 1/4, which is equal to 1/4. This is equal to, it's the same thing as saying 5/8 divided by 1/4. That's the same as saying 5/8 times 4/1. And that's equal to 20/8, which equals 10/4, which equals 5/2, which is 2 1/2. So again, to recap, we have these sets of points which happen to be fractions. Our y2 is 3/4 minus y1, which is 1/8. x2 is 1/2 minus 1/4, which is x1. It's equal to 5/8 over 1/4. So because 6/8 minus 1/8 is 5/8, and 2/4 minus 1/4 is 1/4. All I did there was just transform that to an 8 denominator by multiplying the top and bottom by 2. 5/8 divided by 1/4 is the same as 5/8 times 4/1. So it's 20/8, because 5 times 4 is 20/8. And that equals 10/4. We're just reducing it now to 5/2, and it's equal to 2 1/2. So fractions, fractions. But basically, you need to know your formula for slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This one here, this one's pretty straightforward. A little tricky at first. Okay, so on this one, 7-5, page 325, they want you to find the slope and y-intercept for y equals 5x. Well, y equals mx plus b, all right? And your m is equal to 5. There's your slope. B is equal to 0, because there is no y-intercept. That's what's missing. There's nothing there, so it's 0. If you're given another one, this one's pretty straightforward. Let's say you're given minus 3x plus y equals -4. If you're given that, you're going to have to transform it first. Okay? So on this one, you'd have to, before you could answer this question, you'd have to add 3x on both sides. You'd get y equals 3x minus 4. And then, okay, you get m equals 3 and b equals -4. And you've got your answer, slope and y-intercept. Okay? And you're done. This line here